All right, everyone. Welcome down to another episode of Those Nerds You Know.
Aww.
My name is Ethan.
I'm Eddy.
And we are Those Nerds You Know.
Hi.
Welcome down, and as you can tell from the title of this episode, we're going to talk about how to survive a convention.
We haven't. We're dead.
So, David and I talked about conventions a little while ago when we talked about the time we had at San Japan and just conventions in general. And I think we mentioned on that episode we'd like to do something like this and talk about a convention survival kit.
David. I'm taking your idea from you.
And
you can't do anything because you're in a Mormon mission.
Yes, poor David. You'll hear this eventually, and you'll laugh. And we'll be like, bro, we did that 2 years ago.
I probably wouldn't even remember it. That's going to be funny. You're like, I like the joke you did, Eddie. Like,
well, that's like when Michael will text me now and again and be like, oh, well, you know about this thing. And I'm like, no, I don't. What are you talking about? Oh, this episode. Okay, got you. This is like texting me about our Thor episode not long ago. And I was like, that was forever ago.
Like 2 months. much less 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to talk about what we have learned through our years of conventioning is the best practices for as far as things to bring with you, things to plan for, good ideas, good things to do while you're there, things to do in preparation for going. And I can say we've got pretty good authority on this.
Yeah, probably.
I've been going to cons. I've been going to cons regularly for the past, what's it? It's 2018 now, for the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. I'm about 4 years with that.
Yeah.
Well, not including my very first one. That was like 10 years ago.
Right, and that's why I say like regularly, because I went to a couple before college, and even a couple in college before my mission. But like when I got home from my mission, one of the first things we did that summer was go to a con. David and Scott sent me to sit in my first San Japan. And I was like, I'm doing this every year now. And shortly after that, I had got a job and got a little disposable income. And I was like, I'm going to go to more cons. And the following year, we went to 4. And this was prior to me going as an artist. So we just went.
That's crazy.
And so that was the year of Anime Matsuri, which was the first when I met you, when you came to a con with us. That was another San Japan. I think we did... oh gosh, I keep wanting to say Contraflow. It's in Cyphacon. We did Cyphacon that year. I've only done one Contraflow, and I probably won't go back to it. But, you know, and that is an artist.
Yeah, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones.
Yeah, there are.
So.
And then, it just, I've done so many, and I love it. It's a great time.
It's crazy that I'm so into going to cons because the first two that I went to were the worst experiences I've ever had.
Which ones did you go to first?
The first one I went to was Anime Expo.
That's right,
in
an enormous one.
Anaheim, California.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, that's tip number 1. Never go to a con that's extremely large for your first con. Yeah, you will be extremely overwhelmed. You will not know what to do. Even if you go with people that have been there, like, it'll still be so overwhelming, and it will probably scare you from going to other cons.
Yeah, especially if you do get overwhelmed pretty easily, which I think is a lot of people, and probably a lot of people in the anime world.
Especially if you're, like, not used to crowds, because there are so many people that go to cons.
Gosh, yes. So A-Con is probably the largest con I've been to, with the exception of San Diego Comic-Con. I just put that in a whole nother area, because it's a whole other beast. The crowd in that was monstrous. We went for one day, and it was...
Which con was this?
San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
When I went to San Diego Comic-Con.
Jesus.
When back in the days when you could just show up and get a ticket.
Yeah.
I went to their 40th one, which was a while ago now. Mm-hmm. That was... Man.
Yeah. Anime Expo, I think they had like 30,000 people that time I went to Anime Expo.
Easily.
Ridiculous.
If I recall, that's probably the largest anime convention in the country. Yeah. Specifically anime.
Yeah. But this was back in like 2007. So.
Yeah, that's
Might
crazy.
not have been, but it probably was. Who knows?
Oh. Anyways, just so we've been to quite a few, and we've learned quite a few things, what to do in order to have the best time, and how to prepare and what to do. And early on in my con going experiences a few years ago when I first started going, I said I had some disposable income, but really what I had was enough income to pay for my ticket there, usually, and to split a hotel with my friends. Yeah. And then I had a little bit left over to get some junk. But food wrecked me. Like one of my first cons, I just, after I sat down and realized how much money I was spending on food, like all of my different meals, I was like, I don't have a whole lot left for the con.
Which is so hungry all the time.
Look, I have to eat, man. I can't, especially walking around, because like at cons, I think you underestimate how much walking you actually do,
and how much energy expenditures you have.
Yeah, and especially if your daily routine is not that. If it's just working at a desk. If you don't
exercise
at
all.
If you're not...
Good Lord.
Ooh, which I think I can easily say is the vast majority of people that attend conventions.
Yeah, absolutely. At least like the nerdy conventions.
So you really have to be aware of what your... of the food, of eating, like being exhausted, like avoiding that, and drinking, making sure you're hydrated. Especially if you do cosplay. Because the first few cons we went to when I got home, I wanted to do my Captain Jack Sparrow costume, which I love, and I did. And
and that's just extra weight you have to carry around on your body.
Oh gosh, a day and a half of that, and I'm done. Because it's hard to eat when you're in costume. I feel sometimes because you're just so nervous and anxious about getting food on anywhere or anything like that, and so it makes it harder to eat, so you don't always want to eat, and then I get to this point where I have the biggest headache I've ever thought of, imagined, and so like I don't cosplay or do anything anymore just because I just don't want to deal with it. Like,
no, it's completely understandable.
Enjoy myself. But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna do. I have created little groups of packets, or like tiers, I think, of different ways to pack that I think are good for different people. But I think we can also just go through all the things we mentioned, and then I can tell you sort of how I pack them together and what's good and what's not. So like things we mentioned, stuff. So general stuff to do, to bring. Yeah. Bring multiple forms of money. Mm-hmm.
Different forms, because don't put all your money in one like area, because if you go to a con, especially out of state, the banks, might see something suspicious on your account, and that could lead to very big problems. And it's not their fault, of course. I mean, it's a good security measure to have, but it could still happen at an inopportune time for you.
Definitely. And the reason that happens is, this happened to me. One of my cards got shut down, not this past Sainspan, but the one before that. And the reason it happens is because you're going in there, you go into the dealer's room where you can buy stuff from tons of different vendors. They come from all different parts of the states usually to do that.
Sometimes out of the country.
Right? Also sometimes out of the country. And same for the artist alley and different things like that. And so if you're swiping your card when you're making those purchases, it looks to the banks or to the computers or whatever monitors your card, it looks like you've been buying stuff from Georgia and Florida and Montana and California, all within an hour of each other. So which just tells them, that's a flag for them that tells them, hey, your card's probably been hacked. Someone's just spending money willy-nilly. So if it's just, they'll freeze it. And if you're in the dumb case that I was in, where I have a local bank that's not open on the weekends, and I can't call them and be like, hey, can you fix this?
A lot of banks aren't open on the weekends. Right. And that's usually when cons take place.
Yes. So it is always a good day. So from that point, that was a recent thing I learned. From that point on, I've just gotten cash out, which is what David has always done. I've gotten cash out, and then I have a backup like credit card if I need. For emergencies and things like that, which is just good practice in general, but especially at a con. So, and other things I've heard is that if you don't want to actually carry cash, some people will get a Visa gift card kind of thing, and just put the money that they want to spend for the con on that card.
Reloadable gift card.
Reloadable card, so that they can have that, which is also a good idea. And fine way to do that if you don't want to risk carrying the cash.
And it's not always banks either. Sometimes the hotels might make a mistake.
Oh
and,
gosh!
Charge you a different amount, and your card will be on hold for that amount.
Yes, we have experienced.
Which has experienced every problem that twice.
Yes,
in the past 2 years.
Oh,
no fault on Marriott, but you know. Jesus Christ! There are some.
Well, one of them was also the Hyatt. It wasn't all of them.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
that was a big one.
Like one different amount will cause a whole delay on some of your money that you have in your account.
And honestly, while we're on the topic of hotels, just because we're here, hotels are something to consider, and something you should consider is that cons will often have official hotels, like a hotel that's designated hotel for the con. Just make sure to consider that that's not always the best for you.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Sometimes they'll have a quote unquote a deal. That's not always actually a deal. Sometimes if it's a huge con like Sanjapan, the problem we have with their main hotel, the Hyatt, is that it fills with so many people that getting to and from your room is such a hassle, and there's getting in and out of the hotel becomes a hassle because everyone's in the foyer and it's just nerds everywhere, and it's real hard. So we end up getting a hotel like farther and farther away, still walking distance, but far enough away that most of the con goers aren't there, and it's just makes things much simpler. And if you have, I don't know, if plenty of people have rewards cards or different things like that with different hotels, so I think it's always good if your hotel, the hotel you typically use, isn't the official one of the con. Look for a hotel that's nearby that maybe is
not too far away, because that can be problematic.
And that'll depend on what city you're in too, because like some of them, I've gone to cons in real small towns where like the only transportation will be your vehicle if you have it. If there's no public transit and if there's no real like safe walking way to get there. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I went to Otakon a few years ago in Maryland, and we didn't get the hotel that was connected to the con. We actually went pretty far away. Like it was about a mile away from the con. We had to take the light tram and everything.
Wow.
That was a trip. Jeez.
Not enjoyable.
It wasn't, I mean, it was the distance wasn't the problem. It was that Baltimore is a very dangerous area. And there's lots of homeless people.
Gotcha.
And people with ill intentions and things.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing to be around. Especially in a strange area.
Yeah, definitely true. Yeah. If you don't, that's another thing to bring, I'd say, is a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make sure you have someone with you.
Yeah.
And preferably someone who's been to the con if you haven't been to it, that knows the place or knows the area.
Yeah. And if not, that's it's a new experience for everyone.
Correct.
But
if not, it's always good to have another human being with you.
Yeah, it's always good practice. Like in a strange town, to not be by yourself. Like in a city, it's very dangerous.
Excellent. So yes, multiple forms of money. Bring a friend. I'd say bring a bag.
Bring a bag, backpack,
as in an empty bag that you can put stuff in,
or a messenger bag.
Yeah, backpack, messenger bag, things like that. Just bring something, because one of the main things people do at conventions is they buy stuff. And early on in my convention career, I wasn't I didn't catch on to that. And then when I got there and I saw all these things that were there to buy, I was like, oh, I want to buy all these things, and I would buy a few things, and I'd be like, where am I going to put these? I've used up all of my cargo pockets, because that was a thing back then. And so having a bag for that is really useful. And for other things that you're going to carry with you, because we mentioned also bring snacks, bring a water bottle, bring some form of nourishment for yourself. Especially
like granola bars, Explore bars, protein bars, things that will give you energy, or at least enough energy to get you to the next food area.
Yeah, I would agree. Just because that's good practice. Just because you may not always want to spend the $7 on a hot dog in some of the concessions, because there are cons that are super like that.
Yeah.
Where your only source of food in the con or around the con will be their concessions,
and their concessions are expensive.
Yup.
Heckin' expensive.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want this season 1 of this entire anime, or this one hot dog?
Yes,
on the side.
Accurate. Oh gosh. Definitely. I mean, some of these things are common sense packing things. But I just feel like they're good to mention. Would be like a phone charger, battery charger, an extra battery bank.
Yeah, battery banks are a great thing to have in this day and age, with everything being rechargeable and running off of battery.
It's good for your phone to get around, and it's good for to be able, if you're at a convention, an anime con or a video game convention or anything of that nature, it's almost a given that you have some type of mobile gaming device, like a DS.
Or a Switch now.
Or a Switch now. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Gosh.
How are you enjoying your Switch, Ethan?
Oh, my gosh. Eddie, the Switch is so amazing. I love it.
How's Breath of the Wild?
It's just, it's so good.
It's so good.
I've gotten all the towers.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You progressed pretty far.
I love that. I mean, I haven't walked around in all the areas, right? Mostly I just I'll go straight to a tower, I'll do the tower, and I'll do any shrines I can see from the
that's
tower.
what I did.
Yes. And then I'll go back and explore later. Yeah. But I just wanted to have all that. So I've recently knocked that out. I've done that and one Divine Beast. Mm-hmm. And I freed the Snow Dragon. Mm. And I've done some other significant things. I found the Master Sword.
Oh, I gotcha.
I could look upon it. I have not yet gotten enough.
You're not worthy enough.
Yes,
you're going to die.
Indeed, worthy enough to pick it up yet. But yeah, I've done plenty of things. Man, that Lost Woods area was so annoying.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
I was like, it was terrifying, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, it took me so long to figure out that I had to follow the wind.
Oh yeah, no, I picked up on that immediately, but just getting there was
bless you.
It's funny because Eric didn't know either. He had some trouble figuring it out. I was like, it's just the flame. Follow the flame.
Nah,
but it was still scary, because I think I was attacked by wolves at one point, going toward the Lost Woods. That scared the crap out of me. It was like the well in Ocarina of Time. That's the amount of scariness that was.
I don't remember that part.
Oh man, you probably didn't get that far.
Is it when you're grown up?
No. Well, it's a weird time thing because you have to drain the well as a kid, but you have to learn the music as an adult, and then go back as a kid to get the Lens of Truth, and it's convoluted. But anyway,
no, I never got to the point where you were an adult in that game.
Yeah, well, it's after we come in.
Okay. We've digressed quite a bit.
Thanks, Zelda.
So yeah, what do we got? We got through phone charger, snacks, bottle, hand sanitizer. Fantastic thing.
Yep.
Con crud is a thing.
Con crud is a bad thing.
People get sick. People don't take care of themselves, and
they pass it on to you.
Yeah, if you're shaking hands, slapping hands with everybody, it seems fun, but make sure you keep your hands clean.
Even standing in line with other people.
Oh gosh,
it can still happen.
So yeah, be careful.
Be wary.
Be wary of who you breathe on and who you allow to breathe on you. Yeah, so be careful about that. And that'll come up a little bit later when we talk about some of our good ideas, like behaviors and then things to keep up while you're there as well. But right now we're just in stuff. You said mints were also a good idea.
Yeah, breath mints. Get some Tic Tacs. Yeah. Nobody wants to be smelling your stinky breath.
Accurate. You're going to be talking to a lot of people.
Good hygiene is next to godliness or something.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Whatever. It's hygiene, cleanliness.
You ungodly fool.
Hey, I'm completely hygienic.
I mentioned this, and I'll mention it later when I divide things up into tiers. Food and things to eat, like paper bowls and plates and plastic utensils or different things like that. I mentioned that because early on in my con career, when I realized that food was taking up so much of my budget for my cons, and I was just a poor little broke college kid, I was like, I'm gonna bring breakfast and lunch, and I'll only pay for dinner, or I'll bring breakfast and dinner and only pay for lunch, one of the two. So I would bring
some SpaghettiOs.
Right? Yes. Honestly, yes.
Some Chef Boyardee.
I brought oatmeal and grits. I brought SpaghettiOs, Campbell's chunky soups, things like that. The things you have to know about doing that, though, is you have to bring microwavable safe bowls, which I usually would just bring paper bowls, not plastic, because you can't put that in the microwave. It's bad idea.
And the hotel has to have those microwaves or fridges.
I also bought popcorn.
Well, that's very filling.
I brought things it's filling if you eat the whole bag yourself, Eddie. I would bring things that didn't need to be refrigerated, and this, because that's so you're gonna be hard put to find a place that has both a kitchen or both a fridge and a microwave. Sometimes you'll find either or.
But sometimes they'll have both, but you have to go quick because people will request those.
Yes, or sometimes they'll have a courtesy microwave in the foyer.
Yeah, that you have to travel down the elevator into the foyer in front of everyone.
In front of everybody.
Look at my delicious Chef Boyardee, everyone.
I did that at the Hyatt. There were like 2 downstairs, and I went down and made popcorn. It was great. There was just dozens of nerds.
Yeah.
And it was right next to the like Starbucks that they have in there. So I was just like making food, looking over there, like, no, I'm not buying your stuff. I did buy their stuff actually. They had the best peppermint hot chocolate I've ever
really
had.
did. Like, I'll be honest, and I don't even like peppermint, but that was pretty good.
It was so good. Anyways, so yeah, those are. I think those are all. Did you have anything else? I think we mentioned everything. Basic things to bring with you.
Medical needs, if you have some
yes.
medicines or something, don't forget those, because nobody wants you to collapse in front of them because of like hypertension or something like that.
Yes. Make sure you're up on that stuff.
Bring your inhalers with you.
And that brings us, I think, to our good I keep going back to the word behavior, but that's not what I want to say. Behaviors or ideas.
Behave yourself in cons.
Good. I don't know. These are just good things you should do. Not just things you should bring with you, just good actions to take while you're there. One I'd say is budget and save.
Budget. Especially if you don't have a lot of money.
Precisely. Save up a little bit with all of your paychecks. Look at when you're going to this con. Map out how many paychecks you're gonna have from now till then, and put a little bit aside each paycheck.
Because truth be told, it's not extremely expensive to go to cons. It's just you have to set aside so much time for it. If you have a job, it could be difficult to get out. But if you drive or fly, it's not going to be more than like $300, depending on where you fly from. Yeah. And the cons you get in for like what, $60 at times.
Yeah.
PAX is a little more expensive because it's more mainstream.
Yeah.
But
anywhere from I've gone to cons for anywhere from, if you buy early enough and you buy online and get the whole weekend, you can get into some for like $30.
Yeah.
If you're early enough.
Like for San Japan, that's like I paid maybe $50 for my last week because I waited so long.
Right. Yeah.
But it's usually like $40 to get to San Japan.
Definitely. So like looking at that, I always recommend buying your ticket in advance. I just feel like that's a good
practice.
That's probably the word I was thinking about earlier. Good practices. Yes,
practices.
These are good con-going practices. You crushed it. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Such a good dictionary. Thesaurus.
Yes, and so that is definitely a good practice to have when going to a con, buying your ticket in advance.
We probably used that word so many times.
Yeah.
In discussion.
Excellent practice. And then budget. And so this is something that both David and I have done, and David probably better than I, but is budget while you're there. Look at how much money you have and divide that into the amount of days you're going to be there, and say, I'm going to spend this much money today. That includes food, that includes swag from the dealer's room, and things like that, if you need that to be. Oftentimes, what I like to do is make 2 budgets and say, like, this is my hotel and food budget. So I'm going to pay for my hotel with this money, and I'm going to pay for food with this money, and then that should allow me a separate budget that will just be swag. Yeah,
the necessity budget. Indeed. And the entertainment budget.
Another thing to keep in mind, 2018 will be a strange year for me because I'll be going to 2 conventions for fun. Normally now I only go to 1 per year for fun. I go to a lot of conventions, but it's usually as an artist to sell stuff. And so that allows me I feel the wonderful pleasure of having just a con that is just for fun, and I can save up tons of money to go buck wild at that con.
There you go.
That is San Japan for me.
Yeah. What's the... Oh, PAX. Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah. The thing we're going to next week.
I'm like, wait, what's that? No, San Japan. What's the other... Holy crap. This is your first PAX, though, so...
Yes, this is my first PAX, so I'm super excited. Blah, 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 blah. What? Right, okay. So, yeah, I would definitely, though, look at what money you have and make sure to budget it out. David would do that with cash. He'd have cash money, just like that he would just split into 3 parts and he'd be like, this is what I'm using this day. And I kind of do that now too, now that I take cash out when I go. Do you do anything like that?
Not really. I'm more conscious of what I spend. So it's like I have a full total in mind. No, it's like
we're all responsible adults.
I have a full total in mind, and I I check my bank account every day. Like, and
I got you. Same here.
And that's kind of budgeting, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no. I think it is. Being aware of what you spend is definitely an aspect of budgeting.
So it's like I keep in mind, it's like, okay, I can spend this amount now. I can spend this amount now. It's like
I think that's another part of the psychology of having cash, because you can see when your money is leaving.
Absolutely.
And how much you have. I think something I did this past San Japan, which was helpful for me, was before I went, I made a list of things that I definitely wanted to purchase. Like I definitely wanted to get more seasons of Yu Yu Hakusho. I definitely wanted to, like, in DVD form, and I definitely wanted to get more cat pillows, at least one. I came home with 2, as you know, and
screw you, budget.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing, is like, because I set that up, I said that, and I probably had a couple other things on my list, and after I had checked all those off on my list, I still had plenty of money left over, because of how well I'd saved, and so that helped me know that I could go crazy with the rest of my weekend. Yeah. So that's good. Just, yes, being aware of the money you have and what you want to spend and what you want to purchase. Also, I think having an idea of what you want to get before you go in there is also really helpful, because some of those deals rooms are incredibly overwhelming. And
that's for sure.
Yeah. If
it's like
if you go in without a plan, you can just end up dropping a whole bunch of money that you didn't intend on, like, the first table. And then you go to the next, and you're like, oh gosh, I wanted that.
And another good thing to keep in mind is, like, you could get some of the stuff out there in the dealer's room on Amazon for, like, a lot cheaper.
Accurate.
Always double check your prices.
That is another thing. If there's anything specific that you specifically want, look up the prices before you go in. Yep. Because sometimes there's good deals there. Yeah. Oftentimes there's not.
And then, there are people there to make money.
Right.
So they will overcharge the crap out of things.
And in some cases, I don't mind spending a little bit more just for the novelty of having a big swap meet place where I can go and physically look at these things before I buy. Because most of the things that I would purchase this way, I'd have to purchase online. But, like, the fact that I can go and see an enormous just row of 8 tables covered in K-pop albums and just hold them in my hand and see them before I purchase them is just...
Do you like the K-pops?
Gosh.
No, and some of the stuff is only available, like, from Japan or Korea or wherever they're
yeah, that is true.
Located.
Some of the stuff that you will see in front of you,
and imported prices are extremely high. Yeah.
Gosh.
And it takes a long time to get there to you if you're in, like, the States or something. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But
accurate. So, like, for some of it is just good to have. I've even purchased, like, art supplies from some of these places. I purchased some Copics from a place. So that was really cool. So that's good. That's it. Mindful of your money.
Mindful of your money.
And the next one we have fits into your 621 plan.
Yes, there's a 621 rule that has been I've seen this rule, like, in more than just anime cons or like the geeky cons, like even like fur cons use this thing. It's like 621. This is a daily rule. You need 6 hours of sleep, you need 2 meals a day, and at least 1 shower a day. And that fits in with the hygiene. People don't want to smell your stinky butt. Yep. And you will still smell stinky butt, but
you won't be a part of it.
You won't
if you're the one showering.
No,
you will not be part of the problem.
6 hours a day. You need your sleep. And it'll help prevent the con crud from getting to you.
In that, just real quick in that respect, good ideas, or not good ideas, good stuff to bring. If it's not on your packing list, bring as much of your personal bathroom stuff as you can, like your own soap, your own your own shampoo, because you can only depend on the hotel stuff for so much, especially if you're with a group. Yeah. So eventually
they'll get mad and just start, like, chunking things through your door and be like, man, these people. But 621, 6 hours of sleep a day, 2 meals a day, and 1 shower a day. Never skip the shower. Please don't skip the shower. Like, you can skip a meal now and then. No, you can't. Just
Ethan's numbers are 841. Get the 8 hours, tight 8 hours.
Yeah, I don't skip all my sleep either. It's like it'll be like 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, you don't. Like 6 is funny coming from you, because I'm like, everyone I go to cons with sleeps for like 10 hours.
I will sleep in like crazy. Screw the panels. I'm gonna get some more sleep.
Most of the things at cons don't happen until noon anyway.
Yeah, true.
Like there's a couple of like David and I have been to like a morning yoga class, but like that didn't even start till like 10.
That's
so, like
that was with that Avatar.
Yoga with Katara, something like that. There's like a lady who was cosplaying Katara and teaching us yoga, and it was so fun. It was so good. But yeah, no. Oftentimes we'll be up till 1 playing Smash, and then we'll sleep until. Well, y'all will sleep until 10. My body wakes me up like at 7 or 8, so I'll usually wake up before everyone else, get my breakfast, wander around a bit. In some places, like when we went to, we'll talk about this later. When we went to Anime Matsuri, I was still like really waking up really early, like 6, 7. I just couldn't stop myself, couldn't help it. So like I woke up and like all of y'all were asleep, just dead asleep, and I was like, I need some breakfast, but I ain't got no bowls. So I like walked a mile to the nearest pharmacy, got some bowls, walked back, and it was great. Anywho, so that's it. 621. Get some sleep. Get some food in you.
Get some water on your body.
Get some
and soap,
suds
preferably.
all over you, and then wash them off. Those are all incredibly necessary. Another thing, plan out what you're going to do there.
Yes, schedule.
Yes. All cons, all good cons at least, will have a schedule that will be readily available to you
and they
upon
usually
your arrival.
Follow that schedule.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Usually.
Oh.
Unless you're on Anime Matsuri.
We've got some stuff to say later. But yeah, no. Most cons will give you a schedule of what's going on, and it is best in order to allow yourself the maximum amount of fun. Look it over, decide what you like, what you want to see, what you would be upset if you missed.
Yeah,
I would say is make sure you like highlight the things you would regret not being at, and if it's a actor you want to meet or someone that you want to get a signature, an autograph from, make sure you know when the line starts versus when they start. Because most cons will say you can only start lining up at a certain time or different things of that nature. Make sure you know what time and where to do that, because you will need to be in line for a lot of people, especially if they're a high-profile voice actor or sci-fi actor or anything like that.
And there is a time limit; they will not be there forever.
Correct.
Even despite how many people are in line.
Yes. Which
is unfortunate, but you have to be understanding that they have other things to do. But that's not just actors or anything. It's like panels and stuff you want to go to. These rooms can be tiny, and they can be big too. But I mean, it doesn't mean you'll still be able to get in if you get there late.
Yes, that's very true.
So always plan ahead.
Yep.
Always plan that it might be overfilled when you get there, and if that is the case, have a plan B.
Yep.
Always have a backup plan. Whether it's going to the dealer's room, meeting up with friends, going to another panel, whatever. Just don't plan on making it exactly unless you go there super early. Yeah.
And bring some entertainment for yourself if you're going to be in line for a while.
Absolutely, because there's lines. Yes. Especially for PAX. PAX, there's going to be so many lines.
Eddie, what are you doing to me?
Like, the video game lines are pretty ridiculous.
We'll just be sitting next to each other, both on a Switch.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But
yeah, no, that's definitely. I think we mentioned earlier that it's probably understood that you have a video game portable system with you. But if you're wondering whether or not to bring one, if you'd have time to even use it, you definitely will. If you're going to go to see voice actors or panels or anything of that nature, bring something to keep yourself entertained while you're in line, or talk to somebody and make a new friend.
Hey. People are social. They have similar interests as you.
Yes. This is probably the highest concentration of people with your similar interests you will ever be in.
Probably.
So yeah. Have a plan B. We talked about traveling with a group. Make sure you always have at least a friend, a buddy. Especially if you're going to move around outside of the con at night. Or early in the morning, things like that. Another good practice is respect. Respect people.
Respect people.
Don't be obnoxious. Don't go around yelling stuff.
Oh my god.
Be aware that people cosplay.
And that is not an invitation to touch them or hug them or interact with them.
Accurate. The best interaction you can do for someone who's dressed in a cosplay that you find good or awesome or sexy or attractive is to say, hey, can I take your picture, please? I love your cosplay. And they'll say, sure. And they will almost always give you some cool pose and you can take their picture, because that's what cosplayers love to do.
They love to show off their costumes.
Do not like people being rude to them or people assuming that their cosplay is consent. It is not. Like,
even if they have like a promiscuous cosplay that they're, a character that will be sexual or something in an anime or a video game or whatever, that's not an invitation to go up and interact with them in a displeasurable way.
Right, in an appropriate manner. Yep. Yeah, so definitely be aware of that. Give them respect. And just respect everybody in general. The people that you buy things from, the people that are walking around. Be aware of where you're moving, what you're... Don't walk into anyone. Don't
I mean, you're going to bump into people. People are going to bump into you. There's so many people there, but, don't make a big deal about it.
Yes. Don't be a jerk.
Watch where you're going, you're a meshy.
Yeah. Yes. So that's good. But that allows everyone to have a good time. And it keeps you from being ever put in the position where you might be kicked out of a con. Excellent. So let me see. I think we've got through all of our good practices. I broke down my little packing list of things into different tiers that I have. So for one, I call it the light packer. If you're... This is for... You've got a decent amount of money, you can know how to budget, and you're probably going with just maybe one friend or something like that. Make sure you have a bag for your swag. Make sure you bring your toiletries and normal things that you would pack. We mentioned bringing an extra pair of clothes. Make sure you bring comfortable clothes. That's something we should talk about now.
Yeah. Comfortable clothes and comfortable shoes.
You will be walking quite a bit, as we mentioned earlier, so it's important, stay hydrated and things of that nature. But it's also important to have shoes that are broken in.
Yeah. Don't get a new pair of shoes for a con.
Do not.
Because that's the worst thing you can do.
Literally.
You'll be sitting down so much that you won't be able to walk to a panel.
Yeah.
With the blisters that are on your feet.
Yes.
It's painful.
It is the worst.
Annoying. Make sure you at least have a month worth of wear into your shoes before using them for a con trip.
Yeah. We've all made that mistake at some point. All of our different crew that we've gone with. I've done it. David's done it. I'm pretty sure Scott's done it.
I did it last year at PAX.
Yeah.
I bought a new pair of shoes. I was like, yeah, these are awesome. No, they weren't.
No, yeah.
They're so...
I did it most recently at last San Japan with shoes that weren't I've worn them quite a bit. They were new to. They were my newest pair of shoes, but I felt like I'd worn them enough. But just they're so terrible on my ankles and my heels.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't wearing good socks with them. And after driving all day, it had worn just a very particular spot on the back of my heel. And then after walking that night, it just ripped it open. So the rest of the... I had to buy bandages.
Enjoy that image.
That. Look. The following morning when you were all still asleep, I walked to the CVS, got some bandages.
Oh, I remember that. I do remember you bandaging your...
Every day I was putting stuff on there to make sure.
That's funny. I mean, that's not funny. But
it's hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
No, but I was in that same position last year at PAX. I had a blister on my heel that was just killing me. Bull.
Yeah, and pack accordingly. Also, like David always likes to swim usually when we go.
Yeah.
So
and lots of the bigger hotels have pools.
They definitely will. So if you like that, bring your swim stuff to be able to swim and do it. Enjoy yourself. It's a con. It's basically like a mini vacation. Treat it as such. But yeah, light packer. I'd say major thing you should have is just a good bag for your swag. Bag for swag and bag for to carry around your snacks and your water. Always make sure you have those things with you, snacks and water. And then, like we mentioned before, sources of money that will not be frozen in the middle of your time. I think I have another tier called a smart shopper. This is a person you've saved up a good bit of money, you have a strict budget, and you know what you're doing, and you want to save as much money as you can. Bring food, like I mentioned. Bring bowls and utensils you can use. Bring microwave-safe bowls and cups, and bring dry foods or canned foods that you can use as meals, so that you don't have to spend as much money on food, and you can just get all the good swag that you needed to get when you were there, have a good time with your friends, enjoy yourself. Also, it's good to pick a hotel that has free breakfast. That could definitely be worth it. Yeah. And that may not always be the hotel of the convention, like we were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of cases I've seen, most time when they pick a hotel, it's a hotel that doesn't offer free breakfast. And in a lot of cases, that's for larger cons, because that would be, I can't imagine the Hyatt giving out free breakfast at San Japan. That would be the
period. Like,
that would be such a train wreck.
Oh yeah, no. Especially people who don't know how to fix their own food.
Yes, and with the hundreds of people that would. Oh gosh, no. Nah.
All those mouth-breathing basement dwellers.
Yeah. Luckily, that doesn't matter for me anymore because I save enough money to do well there, and there's an IHOP in the mall.
Oh yeah, so good. Jesus.
Yeah. Gosh, and there's a Denny's if you want to waste 3 hours.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
I don't know. I don't know if I brought this up on the con before, but
on the podcast.
The con, yeah, the podcast, the pod.
The pod.
Denny's. Every Denny's I've ever been to, independent of one another, they've always had the worst service ever.
Ever.
And so I'm there, I order my food, and it's like, I'd like a pancake. 2 hours later.
Oh, we gave your pancake to somebody else 30 minutes ago.
I'm waiting for them to refill my glass of water, for the past half hour. It's been the worst thing. So I'm just like, no one, I will never go to Denny's.
But yeah, fortunately for like San Antonio, there's like a gigantic river walk that you can go to any restaurant that you can imagine, or the food court in the mall, which is like on the river walk as well.
Indeed.
There's like 7 different restaurants that you could go to in there.
That food court is just, they are cutthroat.
Oh, they're very aggressive.
Everybody's got samples, and you're gonna have to try every single one of them, and then you're gonna have to buy everything.
They will yell you down as you walk by.
They will point you out, especially at a con. It's so funny because no one's dressed in like a normal thing. Everybody's cosplaying, or they're in like a big pink onesie, or they've got ridiculous hair, and so like they will point you out. And so you know exactly who they're talking about. Hey, Naruto, you come over here and you eat all this. You want to try this?
Even if you have like a sample from one of the other restaurants, they'll be like,
hey,
that's gross.
Come
get this one.
That chicken teriyaki is not good. There's like 3 Chinese food restaurants in a row that all claim to have the best orange chicken or teriyaki or whatever. Oh, man. It's hilarious. It's my favorite thing. It's so good.
And it's great because even like the Riverwalk is right by the Alamo, so there's still like a lot of tourists that come around, and a lot of them don't know what's going on.
Oh, that's my favorite thing, when like just straight up normal people are just blindsided by a convention, because like we stay in a hotel it's like 3 hotels away from the convention itself. It's still on the convention center. We're still on the Riverwalk. It's walking distance. It's fine. But it's like it's so far away that like the hotel itself feels comfortable booking other events during the con. Yeah. So like while we were there this past San Japan, I think we mentioned this, but there was a convention.
It was a pilot convention.
Yeah, like an Air Force convention thing. So there was all these people, really just clean cut, well dressed, these very nice uniforms, walking
like
around,
in their pilot costumes,
learning things,
like
costumes, and their pilot uniforms. Yes, walking around, learning things. I'm sure having a very useful conference for them, and then next to them there was a guy just like in a Reptar onesie and a man dressed like a pony, and so like this is like it's such a funny juxtaposition. I love it. I love it so much.
2 years ago we had at San Japan we were with a basketball coach thing that they were doing. Like there were so many basketball coaches from across the United States at this thing, and they were so freaked out. They were like, "What's with all these freaks around here?" Like I heard one of them say that.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
No, that's I love that. I just love it so much.
And I think like there was a wedding next to one of yours.
CypherCon. The first CypherCon we went to, there was they have a big center sort of like atrium where a lot of things happen in that con, and we were having a cosplay contest, and on the other side of the wall of the atrium there's a smaller room, and they were having a wedding ceremony there great. During the time of the cosplay con, and they asked the cosplay contest to quiet down, like, so we they had to turn off all the walk-on music and things of that nature, and just turn down the volume on the mic. And we just had a nice quiet cosplay contest. Luckily that's not a huge con, so it wasn't a ridiculous thing, but and then either that same year or the following year, the other half of the convention center, because the con wasn't big enough yet to run out the whole thing, the other half of the convention center was a gun expo, and it was great. So you see just pairs of rednecks walking in the door, all the camo decked out, going to look at guns, and next to them you'd have Powerpuff Girls and Sailor Moon, and it was
so good,
just
such a great image,
delicious. It was tasty. It was real nice. Oh gosh, what are we talking about?
I don't remember.
Talk about locations and we use this. Yeah, I think I was talking about my Spark Trapper and we talked about hotels with breakfast.
Oh, right.
That's what we got way off track. So yeah, that's I think about all for my Smart Trapper. Oh, and something I started doing is I really like to buy art at conventions, and so I think it's a really good idea to have a hard plastic art protector, like a large document holder. Yeah. It can hold 12 by 18 or whatever that number is. Yeah, 13 by 17. Things of that, just a big thing, so that when you buy art, if some of them might have a bag, like a clear plastic bag for their art, that they'll give to you, but very few of them will have a hard protector to keep it flat and straight. So I think that's a good thing to have with you, to be able to keep all the artwork you buy straight and nice.
Just recently bought a tube to roll my arts up in and put them in there. It's pretty good.
Good plan.
Pretty good thing to have.
And the last one on my tier is the Vacationer. This is the maxed out. This is, you don't have to worry about a thing. This is what I am when I go to San Japan. This is, I've saved up. Yep. I've had several $100s just strictly set aside for this one weekend. I pay off my hotel portion and my food all in a separate budget so that I can just focus my few $100s on swag I'm going to buy at this con. I don't worry about food. I'm there to have a good time. I'm there to be on vacation. That is the vacation I take for myself. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we get a good hotel. That's good walking distance. That provide I love the hotel we have for San Japan. Yeah. And for PAX, which is what we're gonna have for PAX as well. Yeah. PAX South. And friends. I think at this point, for all of these, you should have at least one friend with you, but I think if you're really going to max out and enjoy yourself, bring all of your friends that you enjoy doing these nerdy things with. If you have a group, bring your group. That's what we've always really done. Our group has basically been, our core group has been me, David, and you. Mm-hmm. And then each year we've seemed to have some vagabond along with us. This past year it was Scott and Kaylee. Yeah. But yeah, and I think it's just so good, especially if you have a group of people, then you don't have to worry about always doing stuff that you like or doing stuff that they like. If two people want to go do different things at panels or things like that, that's fine. If you want to be together, that's fine. There's more chance, if you have more people with you, there's more chance that a couple of people want to go off and do something. We went to San Japan one year. David wasn't there. Scott and Kaylee and one of their sisters was there. I don't remember which sister it was. And you came to that one. Yes. I'm so lucky that you came to that one because Scott and Kaylee and Scott's sister were just basically off doing their own thing the whole time. I barely saw them. And that was just the year that you and I became friends, because we were just, it's I was just I'm just going to stay with you, Eddie. Okay. Yeah. So we just followed each other around the con. But yeah, that was good. It was good to have a friend, good to have someone with you, especially just to experience, I think, everything in life. And to have someone to be like, look at that. And it's just fun. It's good. Have someone to tell you what to buy. Yeah.
Well, on the bright side, PAX South isn't a very buy intensive.
Yes, con.
There's merch.
I've been thinking about that, considering this is going to be a very different con for me. Experience for me.
Yeah, it's very different from San Japan. It's there are a few merch booths. There's some gaming swag from
fan groups or
no. It's it's the name of the website. It's fansomething.com.
Okay.
They have a booth there. Steam has a booth, and there's some PAX merch, of course, but it's not very buy intensive as much as an expo. It's a display of all the video games that are coming.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, but the lines are going to be crazy. Like, just to forewarn you, the lines are going to be crazy.
That's fine. I now have a Switch and a 2DS, and I'm ready for it. We're going to be all right.
Yeah, I've actually been like planning to buy one of the games that I've already played and gone through to play again on this trip. So that's going to be fun.
Ukulele?
No. That's I'm going to get Rune Factory. Actually, I've been in like this weird.
I have no idea what
like
that
is. It's Harvest Moon.
Yes, I know.
It's
I know
a farming
what it is.
sim.
I've never
like,
played it. Yeah,
it's basically Harvest Moon meets a role playing game, like an RPG, where you can actually like fight monsters and stuff while raising a farm, and like capture monsters to, produce milk or wool or whatever.
What's the aesthetic of it? Because there's something that I've heard like that that's like an Egyptian aesthetic. And I don't know if
it's a fantasy setting. Like it's a little town, and then you go into caves and fight monsters and stuff.
Cool.
And
yeah, I've heard of something like just like that, but it's like an Egyptian looking thing, but it's like very, very similar. That's really cool.
I don't know.
I'll have to find that for you.
It's
send you the link.
Like I've been really like hankering for a farming simulator game for some reason. Like the Stardew Valley just came out like 2 years ago. Maybe.
Heard of it? Don't know. Never played it.
It's so good. Like it's
I trust you.
the multiplayer patch is coming out soon, so I'm like trying to like sate myself with another game until that comes out. Okay. I'm like ridiculously need to play a farming sim game for some reason. That's my weird quirk. Farming sim games.
That's okay. They're weirder. You are all right. I forgive you.
But anyway. My first con was bad. You want to hear about my first con?
Please, Just share this.
Anime Expo. It's a great con. Like I think I was 17 or 18 at the time, and I went to Anaheim, California, which is like right by Los Angeles, and I live in Louisiana.
You were 17 at your first con?
I was 17 at my first con.
Man. Seems so late.
Yeah. Well,
I was like,
was this 17? Let me think.
I was 14 or 15.
It was 2007.
So,
it was 10 years ago.
Too much later than me.
I was about 18, 17, 18. I don't know. I might have been like 16. Anyway, I went with people I met on the internet, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I went with my mom and my cousin.
Pedophile.
My mom and my... Yeah, so it's worse. I was raped. No, I'm just kidding. No, but my friends were cool. I wasn't very social. Like, I didn't have a lot of social training during my school times. I was one of the outcast kids. I was in a private school. Praise the Lord. But anyway, so my mom and my cousin went off to do other things while I went to Anime Expo with my friends.
It was the same for me, only I had no friends in my first con. It was just me. My mom was like, see you later, bye.
Okay.
It's like, okay. Hilarious.
But, I mean, I might as well have been like a stranger because I didn't know these people.
Right.
Not personally, anyway. I mean, I did, but, online friends are weirder. But, I love you guys if you're watching this. No, but... So we went and we stood in the registration line for 3 hours.
Yeah, God.
Which was long. Like it wrapped around this gigantic warehouse thing.
Was that a pre-reg line or is that a?
It was pre-reg. Oh yeah.
No, I think that I think cons took a while to understand that if you pre-reg, you should be treated better than on day of registration. Yeah. Like, just to interrupt you for a bit, my first A-Con, we pre-regged, and it took me 3 hours to get my badge. And then my cousins were supposed to be there that night. The reason I was there is Mom wanted me to go with my cousins because they were going to go. It would be their first con, so my mom wanted me to be there to sort of show them the ropes and help them out. So I was like, that's fine, I'll do that. But they didn't show up on the first night like they were supposed to. They showed up the following day. So I had to take another 3 hours out of my day to sit
something
with
happened.
them. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. And then my friend Phil came with us, and he was there first day with like us. Walked in. Guess how many people were in that line to register day of?
How many?
0 people were in line.
Holy crap.
And he was a vet. So they had a military discount and a veterans discount, I think. Yeah. And so he walked in and paid less money than I did and just got a ticket immediately.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, I hate you. They fixed that. I don't think that happened again the following year, and I don't think it's happened, honestly, since for any con that I've been to. Usually those lines have been very fast.
Yeah.
Because even Japan used to be enormous as well.
Yeah.
But now it's real streamlined.
Yeah. But
you continue.
I did stay at 3 hours in that line. Then, we did everything that they wanted to do. There was something that I wanted to do at Anime Expo, and we didn't do that. So that was fun.
I missed 3 panels in that line.
Wow.
That I wanted to go to, like ones that I was super pumped, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, also, I agreed to have. One of my friends couldn't be there. Mm-hmm. She sent me her DVD collection to have signed by this. I think it was Neon Genesis Evangelion box set. I think like the director was there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like this big guy, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it for you. And so that was the next morning. That like the next morning, I had to wake up really early. I think I got up at like 6 a.m. And as you know, I don't wake up that early.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like even when I was like 18, I was like, no, this is not okay. But anyway, I went and got to the line and stayed there for about 2 hours for them to progress. And I think that like afterward, near the stopping time, they were like, oh, we're only allowing this amount of people in after we've been standing there for so long. And I was like, it was like 100 people, I think. And I was like the 102nd person.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like the most extreme disappointment I'd ever had. I was so angry.
Oh my word.
No, but then the same day, my friend lost her money purse.
Oh no.
In the dealer's room.
No.
Which had like all of our money in it, like that we gave her for the room.
Oh no.
So we had to search. We searched for that like for at least 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my
in the
gosh!
dealer's den.
Did you find it? Oh,
we never found it.
My word!
So
that hurts me so.
Like she
deep.
had to get her mom to help her pay for it.
Oh
and
my gosh!
She was like, she was broken up about it, but
yeah,
like
obviously, like you should.
Yeah.
Goodness, yeah.
And then we had to stay in the registration line for another 3 hours because her friend came the next day.
No.
But
I would have exploded by
yeah, I mean, at that point, I was like checked out. I was like, I don't care anymore. But on the bright side, I did go to Disney World like after it was over.
So, there you go.
Well, or Disneyland. I don't remember which one it was.
Disneyland
in California.
is what it is, yeah.
Which was fun. It was great.
Yeah, I bet it was. I've been there.
That was my highlight.
I've been there as an adult last year.
But Anime Expo, it was so overwhelming. There were so many people there. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. I mean, I'd probably go back now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an experienced veteran.
Now that we know.
But
yeah.
Never go to a big con for your first.
That speaks to that. My first con was, I think it was MechaCon. My first con was MechaCon, back when they were not in New Orleans. They were in, I don't remember if it was Homa or if it was Lafayette. It was one of those two barely existent towns, especially 10 years ago. And
that town's been there since the 1860s.
Yeah, my mom took me there, and like it was my first con ever, and I was dressed up. I really wasn't really in cosplay. I was just kind of trying to look like a cool guy from Naruto. I ended up looking a lot like Shino, so I was just like, sure, I'm Shino. Accidentally. I just had like the big nin, and I had shades on like Shino.
Oh yeah, the bug guy?
My hair was spiked up, yes.
Okay.
I like him a lot.
Okay. Cool. I know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
I've only seen like the first 300 episodes of Naruto.
That sounds like more than I've seen. Is that...
It's probably like the first 150. I stopped after they like had all that filler, one after the other, after the other, after the other. I don't know what that is.
I mostly have read the manga. I haven't watched much of it. Yes, correct. I've read the manga. I think up to like when Shippuden starts out.
I think like there were like 3 more fillers after that before Shippuden started.
Right.
And that's why I stopped. I stopped like right before it.
I read up to there, and I would watch I'd watch some of the fights in anime form just to see the movement, which is really cool because that anime annoyed the crap out of me when it first came out, and probably still does. I just don't like the voice acting choices for a lot of them. Anyways, so my mom is not into any of this in the slightest. Does not care.
No mind.
Does not know why I care. But she was A-okay with helping her kid have a good weekend, I guess. And, like, we weren't staying at the hotel. I don't even remember if I went for more than one day. I think I just went for... I think I may have planned for 2 days, but I ended up going just for the one. She drove me up there. She made sure I got in and got my ticket and everything. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna go see the new X-Files movie or whatever the heck she was doing. And so she went and just watched the movie and shopped all day and just left me in this little hotel where this con was happening. And I knew not a soul and was not prepared to really like buy anything. But I got there and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff to buy. And I didn't really even know that like panels existed at that time. Like I didn't go to any panels. I think there was a viewing room where we could watch anime and I watched a little bit. But like mostly I just bought stuff and like just looked at things and talked to a couple people occasionally because I wasn't very talkative. But that was really, I was just wandering around by myself looking at all this stuff, listening to people talk about anime and things, and that's really all it was. And I was just like, man, I guess this is what cons are. And I was fine with it. Yeah. Like, the dealer's room was like maybe 3 times as big as my bedroom. It was tiny.
That's pretty tiny, yeah.
This was MechaCon like 2 or something like that. It was not big. It was super small.
And it was funny because I had like signed off of cons. I was like, I'm never doing this again. No.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what?
Yeah, what convinced you to go with us to Anime Matsuri?
David, no. But Scott invited me.
Right.
I guess we were talking.
I guess those are, for a little explainer, Eddie and I know each other through Scott and David, who worked with Eddie.
Through Scott, and then
Scott
got David hired. Right. So I was their boss, and I didn't know David at the time. David wasn't hired. It was only Scott. Scott, I guess we were talking about anime or something, and Probably. He was like, "Hey, we're doing this thing at Anime Matsuri." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, cool. Can I go?"
Yeah.
So I went with Scott, and that was Anime Matsuri.
Yes.
It was so bad.
And you had food poisoning.
I was sick. I had food poisoning.
You were recovering. I remember.
Oh my lord.
Which was like great. And so because of that, you asked to sit in the front seat, and I drove, so I had no idea who you were, and you were sitting next to me for 7 hours.
No, I don't think. Did I request to sit in the front?
I think you did, or we might have. Someone was like, "Hey, Eddie should sit in the front."
Yeah, I don't think I.
You may not have requested it, but it was put to me, and that's how it happened.
And then it became tradition.
Yes.
But Anime Matsuri, and I had food poisoning, and it was the worst con. Like,
oh gosh,
it was even worse than Anime Expo.
I don't want to die. Maybe they're fine.
Anime Matsuri is crap.
Look, maybe they're okay. I don't know, but that year was the worst. That was Anime Matsuri.
I've heard they changed managers since then.
Hopefully so. That was Anime Matsuri 2014.
Oh
and
my god,
my gosh! If we went to any panel, it was hours late.
Yeah. Or if it started
at all.
Yeah.
A couple of times we were at panels sitting down waiting for them to start, and someone would come in and be like, "Hey, this has been canceled. Sorry, bye." And then everything was late. The freaking cosplay contest.
The cosplay contest.
We sat in there for like an hour and a half before that thing started.
And we were in line like an hour after it was supposed to start.
Right. And like the freaking concert, we were in line for like 2, maybe 3 hours past the time it should have started.
The band still played.
Yes, the band still played to I'm so...
It was a bad con. Like,
it was bad.
So it was so bad to the point where the volunteers that were helping run it were sitting at a table with a sign that said, "We don't know where anything is.
Don't ask us."
Don't ask.
Just like, don't ask where stuff is.
I saw that. I was completely appalled.
I was like, what the heck is going on? It was such a poorly put together and managed con. And like, I remember that the Scott saying that he went up and saw one of the bands. So there were 2 bands that played. Anime Matsuri is known for getting good big names from Japan, and they got Nightmare to come, which is cool. I didn't know them very well, but I enjoyed seeing a Visual Kei band live. That was the one and only time I've seen a VK band live, and that was really cool. But prior to then, the openers were iShine, which is the band that Johnny Young Bosch is the head of, who is a former Power Ranger and is a big-time voice actor in anime and video games. And because of the such a time delay, they only played like 4 songs because they were basically forced to. They had to get off so Nightmare could play, and I hated that. And Scott said he went and saw them like right afterward at their merch booth, and they did not seem very happy. And I was like, well, no, I wouldn't be either. Yeah. They were the first. They were the first musical guests I saw at Sanjapan, my first Sanjapan. I loved them. They were great. I love their stuff. Buy their CDs. They're wonderful. Great band.
And I don't know. I don't know what convinced me to go to a third one after those 2 horrible experiences.
We did, because we're your buddies.
No, I think David convinced me.
Yeah.
I was so hesitant though. I did not want to go to another Anime Matsuri or Anime Expo.
But luckily, it was Sanjapan.
But it was Sanjapan. It was one of the best experiences I've had. So. Immediately it erased those 2 previous bads, and that's the thing. There are some bad cons, and it's not that Anime Expo was bad. It was that I was in a bad situation.
Yes.
At the time for me.
Depending on your depending on how well you prepare and what you're ready for and what you aren't ready for, you can go to a con and have a horrible experience, and someone else can have a great experience at the very same con just because you didn't do things the way you probably should have, or you didn't take care of yourself, or you didn't prepare, or you weren't aware of what to prepare for. Yeah. And that's... Oof.
Oh, crap. I need to tell Aaron about the Smash tournament that's happening, because I don't know if he knows about that.
Excellent. Please.
Anyway. But Sanjapan was great, and I love it, and I will still go. Yeah. I'm going this year probably again.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If Ethan's going. I'm not going by myself.
So, another thing to keep in mind is that you will find cons that you like. You will find cons that you don't like. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to go back the next year. But if you do find cons that you love, support them and go to them again. And
buy their merch.
Yeah.
They have personal merch.
Do that, yes.
They have
I love
official
my
merch.
Shirt. My Sanjapan shirt is one of my favorite shirts.
Yeah.
It's the Zelda sitting in the...
Oh, yeah, that's Game of Thrones throne.
The Iron Throne made of controllers.
Yeah, that's right.
Video game controllers. It's such a good shirt. Yeah. Gosh, it's cool.
PAX has some shirts. PAX has a lot of,
They got some socks. Yeah. I was eyeing them socks. I almost bought some.
They'll be at the...
I imagine they will.
And, they have pins that you can wear and things like that. There's a pin exchange. There's a collection thing that goes on.
True.
There's there's even, a little scavenger hunt thing that they do. I've never done it, but
interesting.
It's pretty fun seeing those supermarket sweep screens coming up with the where you have to scan your phone and figure out a clue to go to the next one and stuff. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Oh, you'll get to try VR too. There's lots of VR stuff.
Cool. I'm down for that.
I'm pretty sure it'll be much more expansive than it was last year because I think they were testing the waters to see the
cool.
Because there were sign-up sheets and stuff that you could only go in if you signed up 3 hours before.
Right.
Things like that. But,
yeah. Well, We'll we've mentioned, we'll be at PAX South next weekend. We'll record an episode before we go in. I think probably about something video game related in order to get us pumped for it. So look out for that. I don't know if there's anything further we really have to add about being prepared for a con. It's just, please
be a decent human being.
Yes, be a good human being. Take what we've said and prepare. If you're going to a con maybe for the first time this year, be prepared for it. Take down what we've said and apply it, please. And if you maybe haven't been to a con before, or maybe, if you have been to a con before and you, like Eddie, you're just kind of trepidatious to go back to more, hopefully what we said will help you.
Yeah. Don't give up on them.
Don't.
It's a very fun thing. It's a very fun time to have, especially with friends.
Definitely. That's key. I think if you have a good friend with you,
I think that's key as well.
Yeah.
I can't deny that I did have fun at Anime Matsuri because I was with
the
David
5 of
and
us,
Ethan and Scott and Kaylee.
Kaylee wasn't there.
Was Kaylee not there?
Kodo was there.
Oh yeah, Kodo was there.
So it was the twins, you, me, and Kodo.
Yeah.
And that was the year that Kodo and I both got ocarinas. And we sat in the hotel.
That was so bad.
trying to figure out what the fuck to do with this.
No, but like,
oh gosh, yeah.
I had more fun at the hotel at least than the con.
So yeah, it's you can always have a good time, and that's another thing. Bring a gaming system if you want. If you like, we bring the Wii U. And
I'll bring my Wii U and I'm bringing my Switch too. But whenever the Switch comes out with a Smash, then we can retire the Wii U and I can sell that crap on Amazons.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, cons are great. Make sure you're prepared for one. If you're a SteadyCon goer and you've heard something that we've said that you want to try, give it a try. Let us know how it goes. If you try any cons this year and you use any of our preparations, let us know how it goes. Let us know what cons you like going to and suggest things to us. We're in Louisiana, and so we usually go to Texas if we want to go to a big one or a good one. But let us know if there's any cons you really enjoy, anything that we should check out. We'll be at PAX South next weekend. And I think this about does it for the episode. Be sure to check us out. We are on Twitter at TNYKPod. We're on Facebook, Those Nerds You Know, YouTube. We've got iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, Stitcher, CastBox, probably a couple other places.
I have no idea what any of these things are.
There are all ways you can listen to podcasts, specifically our podcast. Give those a look. Give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. And thank you for listening, as always. But my name's Ethan.
I'm Eddy.
And we are Those Nerds You Know.
Bye.